Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are so excited you're here. My name's Nikki McCutchen. I will be your co-host tonight. Just know that whoever invited you to the call tonight must really care about you to want you to know about this technology. We are absolutely seeing it help people and just miracles all the time. And so it is just one of our greatest joys to be able to share this technology with you and share what it can do for you. So the call tonight will be for just 30 minutes. For those of you who are new, we are going to be talking, like I said,
30
about this
minutes.
amazing phototherapy product. Sorry. And we're going to start with our medical disclaimer. So with that, what we'll be sharing tonight is for informational purposes and educational purposes only. So all LifeWave products are not intended to treat, cure, diagnose, or prevent any disease. If you are pregnant or nursing, please check with your healthcare practitioner first. As with anything, we always recommend that you check with whoever is helping you with your health. So with that, I am super excited about tonight. Vickie Milad is going to be joining us, and she is going to just share from her heart. She's been using this technology for a really long time. Her story is absolutely amazing. I know that she feels just like all of us that we are just so incredibly thankful for this technology, and you're just going to see that in her tonight. So without any further ado, I'm super excited to share my sweet friend with you. Miss Vickie, please come on and tell us about your journey with this technology.
Thank you, Nikki, for having me. And I just want to say it is an absolute pleasure and a blessing to be able to share this story with others, because there was a period, of course, should I say, many, many years where I felt like no one really understood what I was going through. I kept reaching out to doctors for many years for answers, and I just really got nowhere. So it all started back when, after I had my first son, I was diagnosed with endometriosis, and they do procedures for that. They do some kind of medication they inject in you. That didn't work. I went in for a couple of those, had my twins. Thankfully, all of my children are healthy. I'm so thankful for that. But the problems kept occurring. So it kind of like was one on top of the other on top of the other. So for the endometriosis, the only way they could help me was to go in, do a laparoscopy, and help minimize how it was growing. Not only to come back 6 months to a year later to have the same thing done again, it just was not something that was helping me. Then I had my twins. I was diagnosed with fibroids. I had a procedure done for that. That was a lot. My body was still going through so much as a young mom trying to take care of my kids. I was really concerned and worried because for me and I'm sure many moms out there, you do whatever you have to for your kids, right? So that was where I was at. And I was trying to be strong along the way because I knew my kids needed me. But I was not good internally inside. I knew something was seriously wrong with me. So finally, I wound up having a full hysterectomy at the age of 29. And thankfully I had my children. They were healthy. And after I had the hysterectomy, I had no idea about a bladder dropping. So I wish I would have gotten information like this can happen, we can do this, just some options from my doctor, which was very hard for me to take in after having having a hysterectomy. Your body goes through so many changes. Like I went into menopause instantly, overnight. It was overnight. I didn't even know how I was feeling. I just couldn't stand the way I was feeling. And I just kept reaching out to my doctor. I kept getting reoccurring bladder infections, and that was not good. So he decided to finally say a bladder mesh was what would help me with all of my problems. And I trusted my doctor. Now, my doctor had delivered my children. He had done surgeries on me, and I trusted him. And I said, okay, if that's going to help me, I trust you that much. So I went in and I had the bladder sling inserted. And when I woke up from the procedure, the first thing they wanted me to do was to empty my bladder. And I tried and tried and tried. I was in the bathroom crying because I needed to get this out. My bladder was so full and it was so painful. I felt like my eyeballs were floating and I couldn't void my bladder, could not empty my bladder. So everybody was leaving. It was such a long day. And I clearly remember this. Finally, I just cried and I jumped on one of their beds and I said, "You have to catheterize me," because I couldn't get it out. So from there is kind of where the problem should have gotten fixed, or at least they should have helped me or known something was not right. So I was sent home for 2 weeks with a catheter. And 2 weeks at home with a catheter, I'm trying to manage this. I'm trying to say, okay, how am I feeling? Do I feel normal? He said this is going to help me. So I went in to have the catheter removed. And I went home. Of course, my doctor was all the way at GBMC. It's about an hour drive or so from here. And I got home, I was okay. It was like little trickles coming out. And I was like, okay, so, maybe that's a sign, it'll get better. I woke up the next morning and I could not go to the bathroom. I was in so much pain. I had to drive all the way over to him for them to catheterize me again. Now, when I was there, he did a little something after he removed a catheter. And from then, I was never the same. So the bladder mesh was in for 5 years. Now, at that point, I had decided this doctor, something is wrong. He should not be practicing. This is not how it should go. So I stopped going to him, and I was seriously praying for another good doctor to come my way. I needed a urologist to assess what was happening with me. And I kept having reoccurring bladder infections still with the bladder mesh. It did not help any of that. If I bent over for something with my kids or whatever, I could feel the mesh was stabbing me on the inside. Yeah, and it kind of, I hate to say this, but it's the only way I can describe it. When I would use the bathroom, it felt like I was peeing glass pellets. That's the only way to describe it. It was so painful for 5 long years. And before I had the mesh removed, I thought nobody really understands what I'm trying to say. I need, I need someone to help me. God was directing me along the way, but I found a good doctor, thankfully, and he removed the bladder mesh. Now the damage was already done. And I, trusted this urologist. He was amazing. So I had someone refer me to him. It was a sister in our church. She had used this doctor and he came highly recommended. And he was so great. I mean, I felt so comfortable with him. And trusting doctors was hard for me after that. After my first doctor, I just had such a hard time and I wanted to have this doctor help me. So the damage was already done. The bladder mesh was removed. Thankfully, it was removed, the whole thing. That was a sigh of relief for me. But the 5 long years of having that in, the damage was done to my body. And then I just needed to do different procedures to get myself back to somewhat normal. So I just had weekly. At the beginning, it was weekly installations into my bladder. So the bladder mesh had given me a bleeding ulcer. So it's called Hunter's ulcers, where your bladder just bleeds. And every time I would give a urinalysis sample, they would tell me, first of all, they say, "You're pregnant." And I would just laugh because I had a full hysterectomy when I was 29. I would just laugh because I thought it was funny. And they would look at me like, "Why is she laughing?" And then, from there, I was like, okay, so now I just need to figure out how am I going to get better? So the weekly bladder installations were kind of inconvenient. It was like I would get a little bit of a relief and then I would go back the next week. And then it went to like once every 2 weeks, and then it was once a month. And this went on for years. I finally had my bladder suspended. The way that they did it back in the day, they just stuck some regular stitches in there, and your body did the healing process. You know what I mean? And I wish I would have been given that option before the bladder mesh. I didn't know that that was even something that they could do. So, for me, it was just it was a long, long time with a lot of excruciating pain. And, I walked around with a brave face. God was with me. He saw me through this. He gave me grace. He gave me strength to make it through. But I literally could not really explain the amount of pain that I was in because my face, I try to smile, I try to wear, happiness, joy, but inside I was bothered. I was in pain. And it's so hard to function every day of your life when you're in constant pain all the time. So for me, I just felt like I felt helpless because I know there was a normal for me in my life at some point. And I just wanted to try to get back there. And I didn't think anybody really understood what I was trying to say. So, and through all of this, God was really working on me and showing me different things. First thing was, just trusting my doctor and knowing that God has me. It's not, this man or that woman that I'm going to put my hope and trust in. It's God. God's going to watch over me, and he's going to make sure that I'm safe and protected. And, after all the bladder damage, I was diagnosed with two autoimmune diseases. Let's see, I had bladder spasms constantly. I mean, all day, all night long, just bladder spasms. And it was so painful. Then they said, well, they wanted to do a procedure where it was bladder Botox. And bladder Botox just kind of weakened the muscles, so there weren't spasms. And that helped for a while, only a couple months. And then when it came back with a vengeance. It was so hard for me to function when it would come back with a vengeance because I literally felt like, oh my goodness, it's happening, it's happening. So I had to go back in and have that again. Well, after a while, I said, is there, do I have to keep doing this for the rest of my life? Is there something else I can do? So my doctor said, yeah, we can put one of those stimulators, oxonic stimulators in your spine that will help your bladder nerves so you don't have bladder spasms all day long. Well, because I had the bladder mesh, I said, I really need to pray about this and talk to my husband because I am very funny about having something foreign in my body since all of that happened with the mesh. So I went home and I told my husband, he's like, oh, no, no, no. And I'm like, wait a minute. I got to tell you, this is what he said. This is what, is happening. So I wanted him to hear the facts before he immediately said no. So come to find out, I knew it wasn't the right thing to do, but God brought LifeWave into my path. And I'm so thankful for this technology because I didn't even know that I could feel as good as I feel today. And going through all of this, I felt like my body was poisoning itself. I felt like the poison was just going through my kidneys and my system, and it was just so difficult. I felt so sick all the time, sick, tired, and exhausted. I didn't have any energy. I couldn't sleep at night. That was one of the worst things for me was sleeping. I, I was challenged with sleep issues for many, many years. And the bladder mesh thing just kind of like, added to it. So that was horrible for me. But I didn't know where to turn really. I'm sorry, I'm trying to look at my notes here.
You're doing great.
And I had to step back, pray for God's direction, obviously, educate myself and find a solution. And when I first tried this technology, I didn't really notice a difference. It didn't take my pain away. I didn't feel any different. And I said, I trusted my husband. This was something that was natural. So I kept applying it to the body. And I did the cellular regeneration about a month or so after I started patching. And then I started to notice the difference. So it started helping me minimize the bladder pain. it took my bladder spasms away. I don't have bladder spasms anymore, thankfully. I'm so thankful for that. I don't have bladder infections anymore. Let's see. Yes, and another thing I learned through all of this is you know your body than anybody else. Nobody else knows how you feel. And when you have something going on, you feel in your heart that something is not right, please listen to your instinct. It's not the doctor's fault. You just need to step up and speak up for yourself, because that I really believe really would have helped me a lot back then. You know, being a young mom, I just trusted the doctors. You go in, you see them, they tell you, here's a pill, you take it. And I would take it and it wouldn't help. So, you know, I had trusted them and did their way for many, many years. I needed to try something different. So I needed some sanity in my life. You know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Well, I was doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, but I didn't get any. So I learned to definitely celebrate the small victories. You know, it was the bladder spasms for me was first, the pain minimized, the inflammation in my body, my gut issues got better. And then there came the sleep. I was so thankful when I could get 6 to 7 hours of sleep straight through the night. That made such a huge difference for me. I could think clearly. I could wake up and I just felt energized. Some days I would wake up and I would go, yeah, you know, it's a good day because I slept. And then, you know, just back then when I was going through all those challenges, I would wake up and I felt so defeated. I felt zapped of energy. I didn't have enough strength to go on for myself. And it was just horrible. I never, ever want anyone to ever feel like that, which I'm sure others have. But, you know, celebrating the small victories and knowing that you have choices and options. Foundational support for me was what God was showing me is that I needed to help my body from the foundation. So if something, you know, sickness, viruses, injuries, accidents are going to happen along the way in life, but I need to make sure that my body is strong enough for when they do come. It's like a trial. You know, you have to make sure that you're ready, you're girded up, you got your armor on, you're going into battle, you know what I mean? So God is equipping you. And just having that foundational support to be able to make sure that your body is healthy and strong. And I can say that I feel amazing. I'm so thankful for this technology. The supplements, oh my goodness, the energy from the cellular dyes is, oh, I love it. I can't not take it. Every day I wake up and I'm like, yes, give me some cellular dyes. So my thing that I learned also along the way was my Apple Watch. My Apple Watch was giving me migraines, and I didn't know that because I had suffered with headaches for many years, and I just thought, oh, it's just a day I didn't drink enough water, so I would drink more water. But I was at one of the conventions, and the lady that had sent Lorenzo to call my husband for the patches, she had said, you know, she pointed at my watch and she said, you know, you should probably try to take that off. And I didn't think anything of it. I was like, well, you know, I like to have the time. I like to have my messages and all that stuff. It was convenient. But I listened to her and I haven't worn it since then, by the way. So, you know, I had a nice Apple Watch. It was beautiful. It was convenient, but it was not helpful. You know, all that 5G, that really, really does affect people. And, you know, that made a huge difference for me. And I'm thankful that God showed that to me and he used Verzi for that. Yeah, and just learning how different supplements can support my body. That was something that I learned along the way too, because I was lacking. I was toxic and I had deficiency like crazy. So no wonder I didn't feel normal. And all of this was happening to me. And, you know, I just needed to make a lot of lifestyle changes. And I'm so thankful that God gives me the strength to do this, because I can't say that I would be here today without him. Many people go through challenges in life, but I just wanted to be a voice for hope and inspiration and know that whatever it is that you're going through, that there's hope. There's always hope. It may not seem like it. And I know when I was going through my dark days, that hope seemed so far away for me. but God gave me the strength to make it.
Absolutely.
And I'm so thankful. He taught me patience along the way and to never give up on yourself because you have a great purpose. And I just never thought that a simple little patch would make me feel so amazing. I'm just so thankful that God brought this into my life. I'm thankful that my husband said yes to Lorenzo. And now I can just share with everybody because this is for everyone in the world to use God's technology. Our light in our body is from God. He is the source of our light. So this technology is activated by his light. In the beginning was, God spoke the spoken word and light, it happened. That's how powerful God is. The light that he spoke is now in us. And, I just can't say enough about this like technology because it can truly change your life. So I'm just thankful that I can share this, and it's so wonderful to be able to give him praise and thank him for the years that I didn't know that I could do it. So
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing with us, Vickie. And just uh, thank you for talking about something that is, can be so difficult for women to talk about, especially when so many women are in situations just like you, to where they feel stifled, they feel unheard, they feel like no one sees them, they feel like nobody understands them. And so just your willingness to be able to come and just share your story with us tonight is such a blessing. And I know that you've already helped so many people. And the coolest thing is that we all get to be along for the ride to watch you continue to help so many more. And so we're so blessed to have you with us. I'm going to ask you a few questions, but before I do that, I just want you all to know that we are so incredibly blessed to have Vickie on our team because what she's done, this story that she's telling you, she has then gone and studied and taken her time. Because let's see, Vickie, how long? Longer than 4 years, right? With the patches?
um, it's going on 4 years, yes.
Okay, going on 4 years. So she's taken this time with the patches to study, to learn. We have some amazing acupuncturists and other people that have really taken time to study the acupuncture points and understand the patches with those points. Vickie has also done that. And so she is so gracious to share with all of us, to impart her knowledge to all of us, to consistently just answer our texts. I can't even imagine how many texts and questions she gets on a daily basis. And you see her. She's happy and she's joyful and she's so thankful to share. And we are beyond blessed to have you just a part of our lives and a part of our team and just helping so many. And we just get to reap those benefits all the time. And we pray that you are just blessed beyond just for everything that you always give back. And I know that you are, because I know that you just see God working through you. So I love it so much. And I love what you said about light, because every cell in our body emits light. Like what you were talking about is that God gave us the light, his light in how we were created. Every single cell in our body emits that light. And so it truly is inspiring and amazing. So I know when you started, was it just the X39 and the Eon? You said a month later you used the severe symptom protocol and the cellular regeneration. If anybody is interested in those, you can find them on my YouTube channel. She goes over those. We had a call where we did that, and it's just Nikki McCutchen. They're also on the Patch the Way YouTube channel as well. We also have our educational website, just focusing on X39, that is patchtheway.com as well. So you want to make sure, for those of you that are new, that you write that website down and you go to that as well. But so Vickie, was it just X39 and Eon that you started with?
Yes, X39 and Eon. We had the other patches, but I didn't even know where to place them or what to do with those. So I started with the X39 because I heard that's the Cadillac of patches.
Right.
And that was, our flagship product. So I was like, I gotta try it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes people need more. And that's what's amazing, because we have all of the resources and time that Ed and Vickie have spent to learn and study, and just to be able to share all of that with us. So yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for that, Vickie. I am just going to tell super quick about the X39. But before I do that, is there anything else you want to add?
I just want to go over my notes really quick. I just want
Yeah,
to see if
definitely.
there's something that um, yeah, so I have something really big here that I did want to mention, that this technology does not replace doctors. I don't want anybody to think, you're in a bad health state, and you're tired of doctors. I was in a bad place with trusting doctors, and, to be able to trust them, they have my best interest at heart is not always the case. But this does not replace doctors. You can find a good, holistic doctor, a naturopath, a functional health doctor. I mean, they have good doctors. They do exist. I'm not discrediting any doctor. I love the doctors that are on our team. I love the doctors I have now that I'm going to see. But, the thing is that it does not replace the doctors, and God is the only one that can heal. So the technology is just a tool that he can use. And this is not by any means saying that, we're healed, this technology healed us. God heals. So I just
Absolutely.
wanted to clarify that.
Yes, absolutely. That's exactly right. And he's given our body the ability to heal itself when we support his design. And that is why we're so thankful for this technology, because we have an inventor and founder in David Schmidt, who has studied the way God has designed our bodies. He's studied creation. He's studied animals. He's studied sea creatures. He's studied nature. And all of those things is God's creation. And that has allowed him to bring us this amazing technology. So that's why I said in the beginning, we could not be more excited to share this technology with you, because we know that it is designed with our creator in mind. And there is nothing that brings us more joy than to know that we are supporting our divine design, and always pointing people back to Jesus, right? That's ultimately what it's all about, for sure. Yes. So just real quick, I'm just going to tell you super quickly about the technology. We have got multiple videos that you can go back and watch on Patch the Way YouTube, on Nikki McCutchen YouTube. But this technology, the X39 in particular, this is what it looks like. I think I saw Vickie had one on her hand. Vickie, if you want to show it, and yeah, I'll let people see it. Talk. You have to talk. Oh, you're muted.
There we go.
Sorry. Yes, there it is. Awesome. Yes, awesome. So this is recognized by the FDA as a general wellness product only. It's a class 1 medical device, completely non-transdermal. So when we're talking about light, this is completely sealed on both sides. There is no chemicals, there is no supplement, there is no injections, there is nothing going into your body. It is truly a light therapy product that is being reflected by your own body's infrared light. I know that sounds crazy, but when you think about the story of when you're watching TV and you see them looking through those night vision goggles, they're talking about a heat signature. That heat signature is scientifically that low-grade infrared light that we're talking about. So you know that that is reality. That infrared light comes out of our bodies in every place, and this patch reflects that infrared light from the center back into your body, turning on different peptides. It's made up of a crystal lattice structure in a specific form that is that is specifically reflective to a specific frequency in the body, turning on different peptides. When those peptides are activated and elevated, it supports your body's divine design so that those peptides can go and do what God already designed them to do. The X39 in particular activates a peptide called GHK copper peptide. It activates stem cells that are struggling to work properly as we age. By the time we're 30, only half of those stem cells are working optimally. By the time we're 60, only 10% of those stem cells are any longer operating optimally. So you can see between 30 and 60, aches, pains, illness, disease, all of those things that set in, it's because those stem cells are not operating properly. If you have things like Vickie was going through, all of these different surgeries, all of these different aches and pains and autoimmune and all of this stuff going on in her body, there weren't enough. There was not enough help and support there for those stem cells to go in and regenerate anything. And she was constantly being bombarded with all of these other influences that were causing her body to struggle so much. So GHK copper peptide does not only help to activate stem cells that are not working optimally, but it also supports your brain, your cardiovascular system, your collagen production, your immune system. I highly encourage you to Google GHK-CU or GHK copper peptide. There's over 50 years of research on this peptide. So there's going to be a lot longer list of what this peptide does in the body than what I just told you here tonight. Make sure, like Vickie said, we are never going to tell you that you can just put on a patch. There is always going to be things that you need to do to take care of your health. Like Vickie said, there was lots of changes she needed to make. So drinking high quality water, getting proper nutrition, getting exercise, having proper care of someone who can give you some good answers. I would even say making sure that you have, something counter. So if you're going down mainstream medical routes, always seek out a functional medicine practitioner who can give you that other opinion so that you have the ability to pray and think through all of the information so that you can have options, so that you know that there are multiple things for you to think about to make good decisions, because allopathic medicine has one route, has one way. They're going in that direction. So you need another sounding board to give you some other information on potential options that you might have available to you that allopathic medicine is most likely not ever going to talk to you about. So it's very important that you get someone, when they are talking about having multiple information from doctors, I'm going to say not the same kind of doctor. Okay. So you want to go on someone who thinks completely differently about whatever condition you have. So get those resources in your life to be able to have that kind of great information. And then the amazing thing, whatever route you need to take in adding those things, whether you do have to have a surgery, whether there is something like that coming up in your life, this technology is only going to support your body's ability to heal the way that it was designed to do that already. And so it's just going to be completely natural, allowing your body to have what it needs to support our infinite and divine design. So with that, I know we are over time, but does anybody have just maybe one or two questions? If anybody has any questions for Vickie and Angela, we will definitely stay on afterwards. So don't think we have forgotten you. We have not, but we want to stop the recording and then we'll have a chance to talk. So anybody want to unmute, put a question in the chat? Vickie, just know, I'm sure you're seeing the chat. Everyone is saying, thank you, God, for this technology. What an amazing testimony. Thank you for sharing, Vickie. Everyone is just so appreciative of what you shared. So anybody have any questions for her? Yes, Pastor Ed.
I'm a better husband because of her.
Absolutely. Amen. 100%.
Thank you. I'm just reading all of these.
Yes, so sweet. So many sweet things in the chat. So, yes. Well, with that, we will go ahead and close out tonight. Please come back and join us on Monday night. I will just be giving an educational talk about the technology just for 30 minutes, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. So adjust that for your time zone. please invite people back to the call. We want to share it with them. We want to be available for their questions. And then next Wednesday, we will also go over all the technologies we have, along with this amazing business opportunity that we have attached to what we have going on here as well. So please invite people back to all of those calls as well. So with that, please just know that we pray blessing over each and every one of you. Good night, everyone.
Good night. God bless.
Good night. Happy
bless.
birthday, Nikki. Happy
Yeah.
birthday.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Amazing test.